Hi, and thanks for joining me for this quick message. There are three types of empaths, three groups that people usually fall into. And I've experienced this myself. I've witnessed it in my clients and people that I've connected throughout my life. And so the three different types are: one, this is the type that struggles and is stuck in victim mode, is always tired or overwhelmed. And I've been there. It's like I've been in that space of, oh my gosh, everyone needs something from me. I have all these things to do. I can't possibly, do this for myself. I can't possibly, put my energy towards what I want or what I need. And so that's the victim space. And it's a very low energy space. And the energy of that is basically spinning. It's like you're in this loop of disempowerment. You're in this loop of, all this energy is outside of yourself. Your focus is not centered in your body. It's not centered in your energy field. And therefore, you are easily pulled in a lot of different directions. And so that's the group that I have the most compassion for, because I know how difficult and how disempowering it is. And so what I want to share with you is that if you're in that space, there's only one thing that you need to do. You need to decide that you're ready for a different experience. And what that requires is for you to take responsibility for the decisions that you've made that have led you to where you are now. Because as every integrated empath knows, their destiny, their happiness, their peace, their abundance is up to them. And so if you're in that space of being in that first group, of feeling disempowered, feeling like you're at the mercy of your circumstances, just open your heart to the possibility of, what if I were to take a deeper responsibility for my energy, my happiness, the decisions that I make? What would that bring me? How could I experience life in a different way? And so when you get from, that first group to the next group, it's like, oh my goodness, okay, I do have some control over the situation. And when I was in that space of victim mode and, being in relationships where the dynamic was so out of proportion, and I was giving way too much and feeling so drained, that was a space where I actually was misdiagnosed with a mental illness because my energy had been so depleted and I was so fatigued and I couldn't sleep. And so it ended up showing up in my physical and, my emotional body as well. And so I've seen it many, many times where people do have experiences like that, where they pushed themselves way too far. And so when I finally realized that I am an empath, it wasn't from the space of, oh my gosh, I'm an empath. That's why I've experienced all this stuff. That's why I can't seem to do X, Y, or Z. So I want to distinguish that when you know that you're an empath and that you do experience energy in a more acute way or an intense way, that is an opportunity for you to look at. You can see my little dog running in the background. Bella just caught my eye there. That you do experience energy in a different way, then, there's this empowerment that you can embody around your own experience, as opposed to thinking that this is a reason why all of the things in my life are falling apart. I don't support, that type of thinking or way of being, because what I stand for really is people taking responsibility for who they are and then moving forward in a way that is going to empower themselves. So, what I want to say is that your sensitivity should never really be an excuse for why you don't have what you want in your life, why you aren't experiencing peace in your life or abundance or anything good, because all of it is available to you. And so the one thing always is, that common denominator of you and your experience. And so taking responsibility of that is so essential. Okay, the second group is a little bit higher up. It's a better experience, but it takes a lot of work. And so this second group works very, very hard. They read a ton of books, they go to lots of workshops, they pray, they meditate, they do all sorts of things to work on integrating their sensitivity and learning more about it. So this second group is, it's very integrous, meaning that they have an integrity around their experience, and they know that they have control over what their experience is. So they spend a lot of time and energy working on themselves. But the thing is that I've noticed is a lot of people who are in this second group tend to do everything on their own. They're not asking for help. They're not receiving support, even if people are offering it to them, because everything they've kind of contracted around what they want to do, and they're so used to lone wolfing it and doing things on their own, that they close themselves off from all of the resources that are available to help support them and accelerate them further onto their path. And so I did that for a while too, where I researched, I studied, I practiced, and it was very empowering, and it was also very lonely. And it took a lot of work and a lot of practice and questioning and things like that for me to start gaining the confidence to move to that next space. I've seen that, and actually I've experienced this too, where it's hard to open up, right? It's hard to trust people, because we've been hurt before, we've been misunderstood. And so some of those patterns within ourselves are so hard to break through that we continue to hold ourselves small and keep ourselves working on our own. And so that second group is successful. The second group, has some sense of their own power and purpose. However, they have not expanded to the place where the magic truly happens. They get glimmers of it, but they're really not in that flow. And so the third group, this is the one that always amazes me. When I witness this group begin to expand into their purpose, it is so inspiring. And that's really what the world needs. They need empowered empaths. They need strong sensitives who can lead from a place of passion and power and freedom. So what are some of the ingredients to the people in the third group? What do they possess that maybe the others haven't quite grasped yet? So one of the things is support. They're open to receiving and giving support. Now, I know a lot of empaths are so used to giving, the outflow is always there. But the main thing is to be able to receive support, to open yourself and trust, and have a community that can support your vision. Because a lot of times your vision is so big and so different than what people in our everyday lives are used to. And so it's a hard thing for us to be able to expect those around us in our everyday lives to support us in such a way that's going to grow us into that bigger space of who we are meant to be. Our friends and our family are very well-meaning, and they want to be there for us. They want to support us. However, they just kind of don't have a clue, when it comes to what it takes, what our vision looks like. A lot of people are still on the old paradigm of what makes sense, right? What makes logical sense? And what I will tell you is when you are tapped into your intuition from an empowered space, meaning that you are opening yourself to what the reality and the truth is for you and how to bring that out into the world, it is not a logical process. It is very intangible, it's invisible, it's amazing, it's magical, all of that. But that's different from what 99% of our culture subscribes to. And so when you begin to subscribe to the possibility of opening up to others who are similar, energetically similar with their visions and are ready to expand into their greatness, then you're capable of so much more, because you're not doing everything yourself. Okay, so support is a big one. The next part is going a little bit deeper with the conversations, the old patterns, the parts of us that we really get to work with in order to usher in the transformation in ourselves that's required to live at that higher level. So that's the deeper part of the support that's really important, because you truly can't be expected to do this work on your own. That's the second group, right? That's the second group that's kind of, like the salmon swimming upstream. They've got their one goal, and it's kind of a limited goal, and they're working so hard to get up there, and they're doing it all on their own. So the deeper part of group 3 and where the magic truly happens is that synergy where you open yourself up to be seen and visible and experienced truly as you are. And the second part of that, the reflection, is what you receive in return, which is support, which is insight, which is intuition, which is confidence. All of that becomes reflected back to you as you allow yourself to be supported by other people who have a big vision, not only for themselves, but for you, and will support you and move you along, accelerate your path. And so that third group is where I envision, empaths to be, that I've been all three places. And what I can tell you is it is so much easier, so much more joyful and peaceful to be in this third group where you are connected with people who do see things that not other people see, who do feel things that are so different and so specific, where you can share those experiences and do so in a way to help each other out. So this is my message for you today. Wherever you are, in these three groups, just honor where you are and ask yourself if you're happy being there. And if I can support you in any way, this is what I do. I help empaths step into their power, realize some of the aspects of their ways of being that are holding them back from truly expanding into their greatest expression of who they are. And so if this has resonated with you, let me know, reply back. I would love to hear from you.